Bout number 1 is a 49 kilo National Elite Final.
Listen to that ball. Man of the moment, David Weir.
Representing the Steel City Boxing Gym, Sonny Edwards.
Into the last lap of the men's 800 metres. Champions leading. David Weir in second. David Weir needs to go on all of his reserves. Confidence is red here. This is so close. But David Weir is stunning again.
By a split decision in the blue corner, Kieran MacDonald.
It's what I've done since I was 8 years old. I don't know nothing different. It's been in my life since I saw the first race on TV in the London Marathon in the early 80s, and I didn't want to do nothing else. You know, I tried other sports, but it was just the one that I wanted to do. I had to feel for it. I used to get frustrated in basketball where if someone wasn't playing well, we could lose. And I couldn't deal with that. So, and then when I was doing a race at Stoke Maryville, I won all my races pretty much, and I got a different buzz. And I said to Dad, right, this is it. This is the sport I want to do. There's nothing else that's going to match what I get in that.
So I had a good couple of years just training before I could actually fight competitively. Then in my first year as a schoolboy, I got to the national finals, which is pretty much the highest you can get to at that age. My old man always said, if you're going to do something, you put 100% into it, otherwise there's no point. So if we was boxing, me or my brother, it was 100%. It was all the training sessions, all the running, like all the sparring. But then he said, if you don't want to do it, just walk away, but then don't expect to sort of half play it. I think the sort of relationship you build and the character of that boxing, it brings together, you won't find in other sports, because you're all like one big family, and it's just, you spend so much time with each other, do you know what I mean? You spend a good 2-3 hours a day with each other. Obviously, if you're looking to go raw and then throw and stay in, boxing's got that sort of pull to me, because even when I'm having time off, all I want to do is be in the gym. I want to be around boxing, because as well as just being a performer of boxing, I'm a massive fan. It's turned into more than just sort of like a hobby or a sport, even a job now. It's like the biggest part of my identity, really.
But then everything just hurried on very quickly. GB noticed that I had a good talent, and I was shoved in the GB squad at the age of 12. And I raced in Ireland as a youngster. I was 12 years old, beating men and stuff like that. So it was, you know, people noticed that I had a talent at an early age. It was tough at the beginning. You know, I went to Atlanta in '96 as a 16-year-old. You know, I got this impression that it was going to be the best experience of my life, you know, and I trained really hard for it as a youngster. You know, all my friends were going out doing other things, and I was, you know, focusing on what I was good at. And I got to Atlanta, and it was, you know, the worst games I've ever seen in my life. You know, there was no crowd, the food hall was crap, and, you know, everything was poor. And I got back, and I just thought, there's no life in Paralympic sport. It's never going to be the same as the Olympics, and disabled people are not going to be treated the same.
I think a lot of people, when they're asking, it must be really hard, they sort of assume that I've left London and sort of, that's it, I'm just in the gym, out the gym, which is pretty true. It's all I spend my time doing when I'm up here. But I have good people around me. I have some of my best friends up in Sheffield. It's like a little family. We have a laugh every session, giving each other sticks. It's all about capitalising on the opportunities that I have now. Even though I could say it feels so grateful for this opportunity, unless I make something of it, then it's a waste of my time and everyone's involved time. Yeah, Grant's my main and only coach, really. He operates at the Still City gym where he is the only coach. No, you don't get many like him. I'm his only pro boxer right now. So I feel like if I can push up to a good level and make a name for like both of us, really, because that's the way boxing works, just to have that opportunity to like half give back would be like unreal.
When I was younger, it was a bit of a challenge. You know, being brought up on a council estate and you want to be like everyone else, and playing football and, you know, boxing and things like that, which I love doing and I couldn't do. Yeah, I had some dark days when I was younger where I didn't want to be here and stuff, or asking questions, why me, you know. Well, the last 7 or 8 months have been the toughest of my life, to be honest. Depression and things like that I didn't think I would ever get, you know, because of racing and stuff like that. You feel like you're quite strong-minded, and to be honest, I've probably been depressed for a couple of years and not realised. Until, you know, your mind can't cope with it anymore and you just absolutely explode and you don't know what's going on, and then you have to get help and stuff like that. And you don't realise how bad depression can get until you actually get it, you know. But I had to channel the negatives into training. Sometimes I didn't, you know, I couldn't even train properly and stuff like that, so it was tough. But then once I channeled that, and then I could move on. The next stage was like sleeping properly, get that going and stuff like that. But, you know, with friends and family around me, you know, if I didn't have them, I probably wouldn't even been on the start line.
People say, oh, don't you feel lonely sort of living on your own at like 21? But not really, because one, I like my own company. I've been used to sort of just keeping myself to myself. And the reason I really chose Sheffield Hallam University was because my brother lived in Sheffield with the GB squad. I had aspirations of getting on the GB squad, and Sheffield Hallam was really good for sports. But like, we've had a small family since I've known it, because our little family always kind of kept itself to itself, so.
Who do you think's going to win tomorrow?
I reckon David Weir.
Yeah, he's got to win, hasn't he?
That way, one punch changed everything.
Yeah.
The main sort of changing factor in the last few years was when my mum, she went in hospital and weren't very well, or still isn't. When after a couple of days of treatment, literally a handful of days, I'd went back for the weekend. I'd spent the weekend normal. She cooked the dinner, she dropped me to the station on the way home. By the Tuesday, she'd been rushed into hospital, like really, really serious, like almost slipped into a coma.
You know, not having qualifications, I had nothing to fall on if I didn't do well in sport, but I made sure that I did do well in sport. I made it, you know, a passion. I just had to treat it like a job, but have the same passion of winning and getting more opportunities to race around the world, and opportunities to break world records, opportunities to win gold medals and racing in amazing stadiums, meet, you know, amazing people as well. That's just what I wanted to do, and I love every minute of it. I'm not one of these people that sit there and sulk about, yeah, it's the end of my career. You know, I've done pretty much everything you can possibly do in a racing chair. I just want to help the next generation, to be honest. That's my next project. I'm there to help. Even just turning up at the track, they'll work 10% harder because I'm sitting there watching them, you know. So obviously I'll give them advice on technique and, you know, tell them stories about certain races and stuff like that and help them as much as possible.
I got a call from Grant after having been there for 2.5 weeks, saying that the weigh-in was in 10 days. And he got on the phone because obviously he was like heartbroken for me, because we'd pretty much said goodbye to my mum a couple of times in that couple of weeks. because we just weren't getting good news. And he sort of was trying to persuade me to pull out. He goes, don't worry, we'll just get back up when in good time, we'll start hitting the training, we'll have some fights and we'll go on for next year, we'll focus on next year. But I made the decision then, like, nah, that's not what I want. I'm not sort of going to sit down feeling sorry for myself. My mum wouldn't want that. I think it was a couple of days before the weekend that I had to fight on. My mum went into a 50-50 major brain operation because everything they tried up to that point wasn't working, because there kept being more pressure on the brain because more fluid was leaking from this tumour. I ended up going through and winning the whole tournament, and that was the biggest moment of my boxing career, really. That was like a defining moment. And then I'd come back just after it had been successful. She'd got pretty much the best news from that she could have. I took my belt down there. That was the first thing I did when I got back, went up to hospital. And I don't know, it was a weird sort of humbling feeling, really, because for her to still be here is ridiculous. Even though there's 2 fighters in the family, there's no one that's gone through what she's gone through.
Yeah, my kids have been great, especially my eldest daughter. She's been a young lady, you know, helping me. She could see I was struggling and stuff like that, and I've been a rock, really, and my mum and people like that. Like after Rio, I was scared of what the future holds for me. I'm not scared now. I feel the future's bright for me, and whatever decision I make, I know it'll be the right decision. I'm going to tick over with training. I've got a couple of races next month. It's nice just to have them options. I don't have to train 5 days a week, and I can have weekends off, which is great for me. I can spend more time with the kids and spend more time with myself and do other things that I want to do. So stay over it. Proud of our academy, proud of what we've done. You know, I'm putting something back into the sport, which I always wanted to do. And just to see wheelchair racing grow, not just in this country, globally, is insane. It's insane now. You know, the strength in depth is just unbelievable.
Once you've committed to fighting, the whole process just seems like a story, because I know that it's what is happening. And you always get those little butterflies. You start out, you're just stretching out, you're warming up, then you get your hands wrapped up, you're getting the advice. Everything you've been working for these last however many months for this fight, it's sort of all coming down into sort of the reality of it.
Commissioner's appreciation for Sonny Edwards!
I think the bit I dislike the most is you're both in the ring and you're just looking at each other waiting for it to start. Because I think that's the weirdest sort of aspect. Everyone's eyes are on you and you're just sort of looking at them across the ring. It's like modern day gladiators, really. It's ridiculous. I think boxing is just my escape, really. I think you sort of go into your own this little bubble that nothing outside. You just forget about it, you have to. I'd struggle to say that I used that sort of as like a drive to go on. Don't get me wrong, I loved that my mum was proud of me. She'd never been to one of my fights before, and she came over to Marbella for my debut. She cried all her way through it. Obviously, I don't think no mum would like the idea of her son getting in there and having a fight. But yeah, it was kind of my dad's thing. Boxing was always my dad's thing.
To 36 points in favour of Sonny Edwards!
You need to have that sort of hardship in some sort of sense, otherwise it's too easy to sort of give up when the going gets tough.